Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to day 15 of We Rise, Embracing Prosperity. So before we light our candle, take a moment just to consider your ever-evolving relationship with that concept of embracing prosperity, opening ourselves up to, receiving, drawing in with a sense of gratitude, appreciation, but also a knowing that we deserve nothing less. Okay, so what is your current relationship with this idea and this action of embracing prosperity? What does it mean to embrace? And what is your, again, ever evolving definition, concept of prosperity? So, with that ruminating, go ahead and light your candles. And allow yourself to continue to consider, what does it mean and how are you currently embracing? And what is your current understanding of prosperity? As you continue to gaze, is it possible to make any adjustments in your body, your breath, and your mindset, aligning them more with the action of embracing, moving away from a habituated action of rejection? Feel free to continue to gaze or let the eyes close, or in any way that you wish. Prepare for our Sankalpa and prayers. I resolve to meditate. May this meditation practice infuse my mind with clarity and stability, and my heart with purity, love, and compassion. May the forces of creation, the sages of the tradition, and the enlightened masters who always seek out those stranded on the path witness my resolution and shower their blessings for a successful meditation. Gururu Brahma, Gururu Vishnu, Gururu Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Asatoma Sadargamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishawahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shiva Shaktya Yuktu Yadi Bhavati Shaktaha Prabhavitum Nache Devam Devo Nakalu Kushala Spanditumapi Athastwamaratyam Harihara Virincha Debirapi Pranantum stotum va Katamakrita punya prabhavati Avidyanamanta Stimira mihira dvipanagari Jatanam chaitanya Stabakamakaranda sruti sriti Daritranam chinta Manigunanika janma jaladau Nimagnanam damstra Murari puvarahasya bhavati
Sudha Sindurmadye Suravita Pivati Parivrite Mani Dvipe Nipo Pawanavati Chinta Mani Grihe Shiva Kare Manche Paramashiva Paryanka Nimalayam Vajanti Twam Danya Katichana Chetananda Lahari Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityur Mukshiyamamritat. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityur Mukshiyamamritat. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityur Mukshiyamamritat. Om Anubadraha Kritavo Yantu Vishvato Taptaso Aparitasa Utpitaha Devano Yatha Saramidvrite Asanna Prayavo Rakshitaro Dive Dive. Om Anubadraha Kritavo Yantu Vishvato Taptaso Aparitasa Utpitaha Devano Yatha Saramidvrite Asanna Prayavo Rakshitaro Dive Dive. Om Anubadraha Kritavo Yantu Vishvato Taptaso Aparitasa Utpitaha Devano Yatha Saramidvrite Asanna Prayavo Rakshitaro Dive Dive. Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Continue to soften the rough edges, the physicality of rejection. Which often manifests as doubt, expectation, judgment, and overcomplication. Soften, trust, simplify, and embrace. Practice this experience of embracing in the space of the belly. In the nostrils, and at Agya Chakra. Create Vishnu Mudra. Inhale through both nostrils evenly. Exhale right. In left. Out right. In left. Out right. In left. Out both nostrils. Rest the hand. Effortless breath through both nostrils evenly. Vishnu Mudra. Inhale both nostrils. Exhale left. In right. Out left. In right. Out left. In right. Out both nostrils. Release the hand. Effortless breath through both nostrils evenly. Inhale draws awareness to Agya Chakra. Awareness effortlessly and joyfully merges and unites with Prana Shakti. And with a distinct sense of self. Experience this union at the forehead center. Eyebrow center. Eyes. Nostrils. Throat center. Shoulders. Upper arms. Elbows. Wrists. Palms. Fingertips to breaths. Embracing this union at the palms. Wrists. Elbows. Upper arms. Shoulders. Throat center. Heart center. Sternum. Navel. pelvic center, perineum, 2 breaths. Pelvic center, navel, sternum, heart center, throat center, nostrils, eyes, eyebrow center, Agya chakra, crown center, 3 breaths. The next inhale ascends beyond the crown, and exhale descends directly down the midline of the space of the body. When awareness reaches perineum, without pause, inhale and ascend directly up the midline of the space of the body. And continue softening into an experience of Sushumna Nadi. The next inhale once again ascends beyond crown. Exhale descends through crown, Agya Chakra, eyebrow center, inner corners of eyes and nostrils out to 0 point. Without pause, inhale ascends from 0 point through the nostrils, inner corners of the eyes and eyebrow center to Agya Chakra. Continue and allow the softening to refine the precision. Continue with these oscillations and feel into the space of the nostrils. Inner corners of the eyes. Eyebrow center. Agya Chakra. Awareness, Pranashakti, and self ascend once again to Agya Chakra. And with ease, become fully established. Before we proceed, notice where you may be harboring a tendency to create obstacles for yourself through over-efforting, through over complicating, through skepticism or doubt. Soften those vehicles of rejection and open up in a willing embrace. Draw awareness back to the space just above the soft palate. Apply a varied, subtle Ujjayi, 3.5 breaths, Talu Chakra activation. Release Ujjayi. Embrace luminosity. Employ Divyakarana Mudra, tip of the tongue delicately resting behind the upper teeth, and begin to invite that radiance upward to the upper ridge of Agya Chakra. Inhale, ascend, exhale, descend. 3 to 4 breaths. Lifting awareness, Pranashakti, self-presence, and Jyotishmati. With the next inhale, ascend even higher to the lower ridge of Sahasrara Chakra. And exhale back to the upper ridge of Agya. Continue in this way. Once again, ascend to the doorway to the moon and linger here. Release the burden of your expectation, your confusion. Release the burden of your effort. and your doubt. And in the void left by the absence of all of that noise, listen for, trusting that you will eventually hear pranava, the primordial repetition, pulsation of Om. Continuing with effortlessness, another inhale here, perhaps ascending a bit higher. And exhale, softly return to Agya Chakra. And 3 or 4 more breaths like that, bringing this quality, this presence of pranava, Om, back down to Agya Chakra. Reestablished once again at Agya Chakra, infused with the light, Bindu of Jyotishmati, and the sound, Nada, of Om. As you feel ready, invite the mantra.
Once again, soften. Release any overcomplications, over-efforting. And simply open up to embrace all that the Sri Sukta has to offer. Dakshinamurtaye tubhyam Vatavriksha nivasine Dhyanaika niratan kaya Namo Rudraya Shambhave Om Hiranyavaranam Haranim Suvarna Rajatasrajam Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedo Ma'auha Tama Auha Jatavedo Lakshmim Manapagamanim Yasyam Hiranyam Vindeyam Gamashwan Purushan Aham Ashvapurvam Raktamatyam Hastinata Prabodhinim Shriyam Devi Mupahwaye Shrirma Devi Jushatam Kam Susmitam Hiranya Prakaram Ardram Jvalantim Driptam Tarpayantim Padme Stitam Padmavarnam Tam Yupaviye Shriyam Chandram Prabhasam Yashasa Jvalantim Shriyam Loke Deva Jushtam Udaram Tam Padmanim Im Sharanam Prapadye Alakshmirme Nashatam Tvam Vrinomi Adityavarne Tapaso Didato Vanaspatistava Vriksho Tabilvaha Tasya Palani Tapasanudantu Yantaraya Shabahya Alakshmihi Upayatumam Deva Sakaha Kirtishcha Maninasaha Praturbhutosmi Rastrismin Kirtim Vritim Dadatu Me Kshutpipasam Alam Jishtam Alakshmim Nashiyam Yaham Mabutim Masamritin Cha Sarva Nunuda Megrihat Gandatwaram Tradarsham Nitipushtam Karishini Mishwarim Sarva Bhutanam Tamio Pavayeshriyam Manasaha Kamamakutim Vachaha Satyamashi Pashunam Rupamanasya Shri Shrayatam Yashaha Kardamena Prajabhutamayi Sambhava Kardamashriyam Vasya Mekule Mataram Padmamalanim Apaha Shrijanti Sniktani Chiglita Vasamegrihe Nityadevi Mataram Shriyam Vasaya Mekule Ardram Pushkaranim Pushtim Pingalam Padmamalanim Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedo Ma'auha Ardram Yacharanim Yashtim Suvarnam Hemamalanim Suryam Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedo Ma'auha Tama Auha Jatavedo Lakshmi Manapagamanim Yasyam Hiranyam Prabhutam Gavotashushvam Vindeham Purushan Aham Hiranyavaranam Haranim Suvarna Rajatas Rajam Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedo Ma'auha Tama Auha Jatavedo Lakshmi Manapagamanim Yasyam Hiranyam Vindeyam Gamashwan Purushan Aham Ashvapurvam Ratamadyam Hastinata Prabodhinim Shriyam Devi Mupahwaye Shrirma Devi Jushatam Kam Susmitam Hiranya Prakaram Ardram Jvalantim Triptam Tarpayantim Padme Stitam Padmavarnam Tamio Pavye Shriyam Chandram Prabhasam Yashasa Jvalantim Shriyam Loke Deva Jushtam Udaram Tam Padmanim Im Sharanam Prapadye Alakshmirve Nashatam Tvam Vrinomi Adityavarne Tapaso Dijato Vanaspatistava Vriksho Tabilvaha Tasya Palani Tapasanudantu Yantara Yaschabahya Alakshmihi Upayatumam Deva Sakaha Kirtishcha Maninasaha Praturbhutosmi Rastrismi Kirtim Ritim Dadatu Me Kshutpipasam Alam Jishtam Alakshmim Nashiyam Yaham Abhutim Masamritin Cha Sarva Nunuda Megrihat Gandatwaram Tradarsham Nitipushtam Karishini Mishwarim Sarva Bhutanam Tamio Pavayeshriyam Manasaha Kamamakutim Vachaha Satyamashi Pashunam Rupamanasya Shri Shrayatam Yashaha Kardamena Prajabhutamayi Sambhava Kardamashriyam Vasya Mekule Mataram Padamalanim Apahashichanti Sniktani Chiglita Vasamegriye Nityadevi Mataram Shriyam Vasya Mekule Ardram Pushkaranim Pushtim Pingalam Padmamalanim Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedo Ma'auha Ardram Yacharanim Yashtim Suvarnam Hemamalanim Suryam Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedo Ma'auha Tama Auha Jatavedo Lakshmi Manapagamanim Yasyam Hiranyam Prabhutam Gavotashushvam Vindeham Purushan Aham Hiranyavaranam Haranim Suvarna Rajatas Rajam Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedo Ma'auha Tama Auha Jatavedo Lakshmi Manapagamanim Yasyam Hiranyam Vindeyam Gamashwan Purushan Aham Ashvapurvam Rattamatyam Hastinata Prabodhinim Shriyam Devi Mupahwaye Shrirma Devi Jushatam Kam susmitam hiranya prakara martram jvalantim triptam tarpayantim padme stitam padmavarnam tamiyopavishriam chandram prabhasam yashasa jvalantim shriyam loke deva jushtam udaram tam padmanim im sharanam prapadye alakshmirme nashatam tvam prinomi Titivarne tapasoditato vanaspatistava vrikshota bilvaha tasya palani tapasanudantu yantarayascha bahya alakshmihi upayatmam deva sakaha kirtishcha maninasaha pradurbhutosmi rashtrasmin kirtim ritim dadatu me kshutpipasamalam drishtam alakshmim nashiyam yaham abhutim asamritin cha sarvanunudam megrihat gandatwaram tradarsham nitipushtam karishinim ishwarim sarvabhutanam tamiyopavishriam manasaha kamamakutim vachaha satyamashimhi pashunam rupamanasya Mayi Shrihi Sharatam Yashaha Kardamina Prajabhuta Mayi Sambhava Kardamashriyam Vasya Mekule Mataram Padmamalinim Apahashritam Trisniktani Tiklita Vasa Megrihe Nityadevi Mataram Shriyam Vasya Mekule Ardram Pushkaranim Pushtim Pingalam Padmamalinim Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedoma Avaha Ardram Yacharanim Yashtim Suvarnam Hemamalinim Suryam Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedoma Avaha Dama Avaha Jatavedo Lakshmi Manvagaminim Yasyam Hiranyam Prabhutam Gavotashashvam Vindeham Purushanaham Yaha Suchahi Prayato Bhutva Juhu Yad Aja Advaham Shriyaha Panchadasharcham Cha Shri Kamaha Satatam Japet Shantihi 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 And once again, soften and dissolve the barriers between you and Lakshmi's gifts of prosperity. Rather than rejecting, open up and embrace. Invite the breath to flow a little more deeply. Bring the hands together at the heart center. Bow the head if you wish. And we'll make our offering. Due to the current quality of the building blocks of my body, senses, and mind, or due to habits or strong impressions of the past, I may not have attended my meditation in as deep and pristine a manner as my inner being intended. And yet I pray to the forces governing both my inner and outer worlds to accept the fruits of my practice as a pure and unblemished offering. Rub the palms together.
place the palms wherever you'd like. Enjoy another breath or two. And come back out. Reach for your journal. In what areas of your life do you seem to be rejecting prosperity? And a paraphrase of that question is, where is prosperity not flowing freely? And remember the broader definition of prosperity: good health, joy, peace, love, quality relationship, knowledge, wisdom, discernment. All of the good things. Where is it not flowing freely? AKA, in what areas are you rejecting it? How are you rejecting it? How are you making things more complicated, more challenging than they may need to be? Where are you doubting? Where is skepticism? And why? What are you getting out of it? What belief system are you reaffirming through an ongoing commitment to reject Shri Lakshmi. And finally, is this rejection showing up at all in the way that you experience your practice? Want to come back up, Ginge? Okay, Mr. Independent. Oh, Gigi. Hmm. Can you come out? He was still just rubbing around on my feet and ankles, purring away. So I thought, all right, come back.
He's clearly enjoying that.
You're going to enjoy it too. It's just the greatest thing ever. The best kind of embraces are the kind that feel like you just get to melt into each other. And that comes with trust. And it's pretty spectacular when you earn the trust of a little animal. Say hi, Mommy. Can't wait to meet you.
Hi, Juju. Hello.
Your mommy's voice.
Hi, Juju. Something's going on, but he doesn't know what.
You're the sweetest. So, any reflections? How are we making our lives more complicated than they need to be? And perhaps also our practice. I had a little revelation when I was in practice about the ways in which I make my life more complicated than it needs to be. And it actually stems from a lack of humility, where I might think, oh, this comes from a lack of confidence. It's actually a lack of humility. And it's a little bit of an arrogance in the sense that I grew up kind of good at everything I did. And so things came easily to me, doors opened easily for me. And it built up an expectation in me that that's how it should always be. So when I go into something like an application for a visa to live in another country, I go in with a certain arrogance of, well, of course they're going to give it to me. And maybe don't do all of the necessary steps because I haven't had to do that before. Why should I have to do it now? And that pattern shows up so much like I'm somehow above having to do all of the other things that everybody else has to do because I didn't have to as a kid. And I'm creating so much unnecessary complication for myself by not just having the humility to be fully prepared to tick all the boxes, follow all the necessary steps, just like everybody else. That feels gross to admit, but it's also liberating to be able to say it out loud and recognize, oh, because I can feel okay about being overly humble and I can justify overly humble lack of confidence. I just don't want to feel stupid. I can justify that to the ends of the earth, but it's a lot harder for me to justify. I just think I'm above it. But I do. And because it feels icky to say that out loud, I'm motivated to correct it. I don't want to be that way. That feels gross to think that I'm above having to do all of the necessary steps in order to get what I want. So embrace some humility. Don't overcomplicate it. Just do what needs to be done. I'm done with it. So that's fun. How about you? What are you committed to that isn't serving you? In what ways are you rejecting the gifts of prosperity? Perhaps out of habit, misperceptions, stubbornness. Caro?
Well, I have a great tendency to think I have a crystal ball and know how things are going to pan out, which are mostly negative, of course, because they can't be positive. God forbid I can't accept to actually be fulfilled in what I truly love and I feel is my path because it comes easy, but it doesn't like it's weird. It comes easy because I feel it, I experience it so profoundly, but it can't be. You have to work so hard for it, you know? You
I
have
was,
to like
I was overhearing your conversation a little bit as I was frantically getting ready to walk out the door. And I was like, oh, wow, she's so committed to this being hard. I'm going to go on a boat now, but wow.
exactly. Yeah. That's the thing. Like but and it reflects with everything in my life. Like I lack a lot of patience. I think I have it and I really don't. And it really struck a chord when you said feeling above. I was brought up in an environment too where everything was easy for me, but I was like kind of the silent child, so everything was okay for me. So I wasn't really ever in a situation where I could I couldn't fail because otherwise I wouldn't be noticed.
Mm.
And for me, it's like this attachment and still kind of expectation of others to accept me. Like they have to accept me, they have to love me. But also this idea with struggling financially and not having the humility to say, well, which I did, but saying like, oh, I'm going to do this job just temporarily so it can give me a bit of money just for the moment, just for the sake of mind. And I've presented with an offer, but that offer is not good enough. And I'm like, okay, is it not good enough? Is there ever going to be something that I feel is good enough without attacking this, that for me is more important? That is also something I think I overcomplicate myself a lot and I get stuck in other people's worries and then I put them on myself and I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I so committed to trying to solve other people's problem instead of my own? That is also something.
It's a really good way of bypassing. And it's also called projection, where we put our problems, and that's we're also attracted to people who have similar issues that we do. We try to fix them in the other person, which is a way of avoiding actually like doing it for ourselves. But it's a way of avoiding, but it's also a way of addressing. We just
Yeah.
have to recognize when we're doing it and say, okay, what in this person is just a reflection of something in me that I
Yeah.
need to address.
But yeah, I mean, I'm really good at overcomplicating, especially even like looking at the sequence I've done and still being like, I'm still nervous about Sunday, and I'm re-narrating, of course, it's an offering, but then there's the other side of me that is like, just let it go. Just let it go. And I keep kind of rethinking like the sequence and then becomes obsessive. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm in meditation and I'm disconnected, you know?
You need to teach on Sunday because if you keep torturing yourself like this for another month,
Exactly. No.
just
Yeah,
teach
I
on.
am. I am. I am.
Good.
It's just like, yeah, that's what I do. That's like, and I think it's teaching me also that the self-torture that I've gone through. And that's why then it comes back down in kidney stones and getting rid of all this stuff. And it just let it go. That's it. Surrendering, really. Not saying it, but really embodying it, the surrender, which is
Mm-hmm.
different.
And surrender really is another word for embrace.
Yeah.
Like holding Juju is so lovely when he trusts me enough to stop struggling against me and just melts. That
Yeah.
is trustful surrender, which results in an embrace, which feels like union, which feels like two energies are softening and becoming one.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do with our practice and with all of the yummy, wonderful, beautiful things in life. Let them in, become one, surrender to them. It's
Yeah.
not just surrender to the bad things, but surrender to the good things. Let them in.
But that's the thing, like there's so many good things around me. Like I couldn't, like at the beginning, I was like, oh, actually, there is so much good, is that I am trying to preempt and to calculate and control something that I can't control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hypervigilance. It's a survival mechanism, but is it necessary?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. I was committed to being anxious yesterday morning. And then I jumped into water with my friends and went snorkeling. And I was like, all right, well, that was silly. How about we just enjoy this day? Thought I was going to let everybody down by being late. I met them outside and they're all still in their pajamas. We had a fun day on the boat, our one and only fun day thus far in the last 3 months, and took our neighbors out on the boat as a way of saying thank you for them just being awesome friends and neighbors. And I was so stressed out because I was running late and I was going to let everybody down. And they were like, "What are you talking about? Calm down, crazy lady. Let's go have fun."
Exactly what I'm thinking about of Sunday practice. There you go.
Calm down, crazy lady. Let's have fun. Yeah. Steph or Elena, what do you think? Anything coming up or coming through for you? Steph?
Yeah, the first question, like what areas I am rejecting prosperity in. If we look at the wide definition of prosperity and like health wise, I figured like, okay, something's going on, but I don't see how I am actively rejecting good health here. But now that my shoulder is finally starting to get better, it's like thawing finally, and I can do an almost decent down dog again with not too much pain, or yeah, barely any pain, even though some things are still not possible. And there's definitely still limited range of motion. Now the other shoulder is starting to feel kind of weird and cranky, and it's like, uh-oh, this kind of feels like it did in the very beginning with the other one when I didn't know yet what was going on. And I was like wondering, okay, how is that my fault again? Like, um, but then the other areas, when I look at the other areas of my life, it's like, okay, prosperity is not flowing in terms of romantic relationships because there's like crickets. But I haven't really done anything to change that, so that one's on me, definitely. Financially, it is getting better, but I'm still doubting that money can flow to me easily and like plentifully. And I am very committed to hustling myself into the ground. And okay, yeah, I got a little light bulb moment right there. Seems like maybe I haven't learned that lesson yet ever since the right shoulder slowed me down for most of this year, actually. So yeah, I don't really know. Part of that was actually what I wanted to talk about with you anyway in the one-on-one. So yeah.
Yeah. Try to think of it less as it's your fault that it's happening. And more,
That was more like I don't know, to make it sound funny and
I,
less
I,
frustrated.
yeah, I understand. Um, yeah, it's just the way that our minds work sometimes. We are committed to things staying the same that they've always been, even if they haven't always been that way, but we have allowed ourselves to continue to interpret them that way. We want that. We want consistency because consistency feels safer and we know what to do with what we've dealt with before. So when something pops up and you're like, "Oh, interesting, I have been kind of perpetuating that," just acknowledge it and say, "All right, how can I do it differently? What actions can I take to reinforce a new thought, belief, perception around that?" Um, and yeah, your commitment to hustling and to it being hard to make money. Yeah, that's a deep one. And so easy to self-perpetuate. So easy to self-perpetuate. But you look around at other people able to attract money without grinding themselves into the ground. So are they living in a different reality than we are? Yes, because we're living in our self-made reality and they're living in their self-made reality. So how can we remake our reality?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are definitely examples of people who make money very easily, and then again, I try to look at all the circumstances, like how far along are they in building their business, because I haven't heard of anybody who says Oh yeah, it's been just easy breezy from the beginning because if you look around, usually the first 3 to 5 years of being self-employed is just nonstop hustling.
Mhm. Yeah. But they're the people who wind up being successful, even though they're working hard, they're predominantly working smart.
Yeah.
And they have a very strong belief in their success, which is what keeps them committed to that hard work. And it's not a hard work that ever is a spinning of the wheels. There's always traction, there's always forward movement. They're working hard, but it's it, it's serving a purpose. Whereas sometimes we just work hard and continue to spin our wheels and we're not actually progressing because we're committed to that experience of spinning our wheels.
Yeah, like look at me, I'm working so hard and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm so tired all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And again, I used to be seeking the recognition of a martyr.
Mhm.
Look at the ways in which I am sacrificing myself. Aren't I such a good and noble person? I am bleeding out in the service of others, even though they're not asking me to be, and they would really rather I didn't. Someone see me as a martyr, even if I have to kill myself by grinding myself into the ground and completely neglecting all of my needs. Yeah. Somebody see me. Somebody see me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that little bit of, gosh, you're working so hard, or you're doing so much, or you're so busy. I was always like, yes, 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 you see me. You see me. I don't want to die prematurely. I'm fully drained. Even if people think, oh, she lived such a great life. I would like to die old with a glass of red wine and some really good focaccia, surrounded by cats and dogs, and probably some cows. To the trumpeting of elephants. Yeah. So, how can I manifest that instead? Yeah. Elena.
I was also thinking of the elephants because what I realized, and generally I find those questions all really hard. A lot of those were also part of the last round of We Rise, and always like looking behind a pattern. I don't know. At some point, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't understand. But something that I figured out is really that I'm really good at ignoring my inner voice. And something that is like a question to ask yourself that is so easy, like, does this feel right to me? Or I don't know. Maybe, yeah, maybe that's the question. And I'm so good at like, even though I feel it doesn't feel right for me, I'm so good at pushing this voice down. Yeah, that's the only thing that I really could figure out. And I think there's a big, um, um, so what's very similar for me is like doing this in work life and in love relationship life. Those are the two things that I'm so good ignoring this. I wouldn't be able to do it, or even, I don't know, like with friends, if someone doesn't treat me well as a friend, I mean, you can do so once or twice, but then after that, I'm gone. I'm like, why should I be friends with you? But somewhat in romantic relationships, that can happen several times. And I'm really committed to numbing that voice that is telling me this doesn't feel right. And I mean, work is a different story, but in a way is also similar. And work doesn't treat me badly, but it just doesn't feel aligned. So yeah, but also here I'm like, yeah, but it's so comfy here, and like I've done this and I know how to do the job. And yeah, I can also find my liberties, like meditating an hour, 1.5 each day. So yeah, so it's really tricky, but yeah, good to look at it, I guess.
Yeah. And maybe start with the love life one. What belief is it reaffirming for you by ignoring your inner voice? What belief system are you able to confirm as, yep, I was right. Yep, I'm right. By staying in a situation where you're being either mistreated or it just doesn't feel right. What belief system is that allowing you to reaffirm?
Find those questions so hard. I don't know. Maybe that my voice doesn't count. I don't know, that my voice isn't important.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Sit with the question and just look for it. Just stay open and look for it. Write the question down, maybe, and wait for the insight. But then again, the insight is going to come from that voice. So you're going to have to, at some point, get into the practice of hearing it and honoring it. Baby steps with that. I used to be paralyzed when I would go to the grocery store in search of ice cream because there were too many options, and I would overthink which ice cream I should choose. And I would just sit there staring and get myself into like an anxious tizzy because I couldn't figure out which ice cream I should buy. Instead of just going, that one. So maybe that's a good place to start.
Ice cream.
Or a bakery or a chocolate shop or something like that, where you go in and you're met with lots of options and you just say, what do you really want?
Mm.
And stop overthinking it and just go with that gut instinct and that game with yourself a little bit every day. What's going to feel good? Start with ice cream.
Thank you.
That's my teaching of the day.
Start with ice cream. First step is always ice cream.
Yeah. Hopefully the gelateria is still open in Rufina at the end of October. I think they usually close in November. And then we can go down when we're all together and start with ice cream.
If not, the pasticceria, which was also pretty amazing.
And has plenty of options to overwhelm you if you allow it to. Yeah. Yes. All righty. I'm going to let you go because Steph and I have an appointment that I think I might already be late for, but hopefully she'll understand. I can't remember if it was at 7:30 my time or 8 my time.
We just said after practice, so
Perfect. I put 7:30 in, but so I'm late. I'm 13 minutes late.
Do you want to get breakfast before we meet?
Let's meet at the top of the next hour. So in about
20 minutes from now.
Roughly 20 minutes. Yeah, exactly. That'll give me a chance to tend to myself, and then I'll be back.
All righty.
All righty. Thank you, my loves. See you tomorrow or soon. Very soon.